Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who's a very progressive Democrat, AOC's buddy, member of the squad, she sparked quite the conversation over the weekend with a tweet that featured Christian singers holding an impromptu worship hour on a plane on Easter Sunday. So basically, the tweet was a video that was going viral of a bunch of Christian people singing on an airplane on Easter some sort of worship song. And what she tweeted was a quote tweet of this video, and she wrote, "I think my family and I should have a prayer session next time I am on a plane." Ilhan Omar is Muslim. She was originally from Somalia and came to the U.S. as a refugee. And then she wrote, "How do you think it will end?" Question mark. Clearly, pointing at how Muslims would be viewed in a similar scenario. And Hannah, maybe just walk us through, what was the reaction like to this tweet?
Pure snowflakery. People lost their minds over this. And I thought it was a good tweet. I actually liked it when I saw it come through before it really blew up. I was like, yeah, good point. I don't think people would respond very well in America to Muslims praying on a plane. Like, they'd immediately think they were terrorists. They'd probably report them. I mean, it would not be this like happy kind of campy video like you saw right here, where the video, it said worshiping Jesus at 30,000 feet, and it's a bunch of people in the aisle singing with a guitar, and then other people kind of standing in their seats and singing too. So I personally kind of liked your point. It made me think, but the reaction was swift and really over the top. I'll give you a few examples. Vernon Jones for Congress said, "Why do you hate Christians, Ilhan? If the freedom of religion we enjoy here in America disturbs you, feel free to pack your bags and head home to Somalia, Sudan, or wherever you're from. Take your brother with you." So, I thought that was ridiculous. I think she's pointing out that we don't all have equal freedom of religion all the time as far as society goes, because people treat people from different religions quite differently, and I say that as somebody who's a practicing Christian, but like, there's nothing that she said that was hateful towards Christianity whatsoever. And then for this guy to respond, put down her religion, put down where she's from, say wherever you're from, take your brother with you.
He knows.
I know. It's just, the whole thing to me is so lowbrow as a response and so reactionary. And I think the reality is a lot of people don't want to confront some of these things that she's calling out. A lot of people don't want to think about how we disproportionately treat people from different religions. For me, as somebody who's grown up, especially in the Deep South, where everybody, it seems, is a Christian almost. Like, we don't even have Catholics down here. Like, it's pure Protestants. It really did make me think, like, what would it be like to move through the world as a Muslim or as a Mormon or as somebody who was a Buddhist? I don't know. You think about how much of our society actually is geared towards Christianity. When I go in and I lobbied in the past, there was a lot of people who talk about what the Bible said. Like, can you imagine if people said, well, like, what does the Quran say? Like, there'd be mass hysteria if that was happening, and yet they're fine with it when it's the Bible. And so it really does just make you think about a lot of the hypocrisy out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I found it interesting because I'm not a Christian, but my radar didn't go off from this tweet as it being an attack on Christians at all. I thought it was more about, well, what about Muslims? It wasn't an attack on Christians. Maybe you could read that into it. Maybe Ilhan Omar has done other things in the past that would imply she has hostility towards Christians. I honestly don't know. But the tweet itself seemed pretty innocuous on that front. But the responses, the town hall columnist Kurt Schlichter said, "I think you should shut up and stop being a bigot." Lauren Boebert, who's a far-right congresswoman, Republican, she said, "Shout out to Ilhan Omar. Her anti-Christian hate helped propel a song praising Jesus to 33 million views over Easter weekend." And it's like, I'm just not seeing the hate. I am not a fan of Ilhan Omar, right? I think she is off the far left, deep end, crazy policies, and says a lot of things, and even conducts herself in ways I find very objectionable often. But I think it seems like snowflakery, right? You said that word, and I think, how can people on the right, Republicans, say libtard, snowflakes, get offended by everything, and then read in this anti-Christian animus and this victim script of, oh, we're being oppressed, when it's not even there. It's like they're doing the thing they claim to hate.
Yeah, it's very hypocritical. There's one other tweet we have in here from Allie Beth Stuckey, who's a commentator, pretty big personality in the kind of Christian right, and she said, Ilhan Omar asked how people would react if her Muslim family sang their worship songs on a plane. I don't know, but it's got to be better than the reaction to Christian worship in her home country of Somalia, where Christians are slaughtered for praying in public. Well, she fled that country, lady. Like, I don't think she's standing by. Right. It's like she's not standing by that regime or what they're doing. She's pointing out that how her religion would be perceived and treated in this country is not consistent with how Christianity is treated. And she's not saying that that Christianity should be condemned. I think she's making a point that it should be more equal, is how I took it. So I thought all of this was just really silly. I'm no fan of the Congresswoman's at all, but I thought this was a solid point by her. And I will say too, like, it also kind of made me examine this other side of Christianity that has always made me uncomfortable. Like, I grew up in this. I'm a pastor's kid. I've seen it up and close in person. But, like, there's a very, like, shovey part of Christianity in the U.S. where it's almost like, how dare you not participate in our religious culture? How dare you not want to, like, sit here and sing songs? And I thought about it, I'm like, who on that plane actually wanted people singing their, like, Christian songs? And I'd actually be kind of annoyed. I'd be like, I'm trying to watch my show. Like, why are you doing this right here, you know? But Christians are really shovey and sort of performative at times with their religious views in this country. And that's, again, not something that other religions really go around doing, or that I think would be accepted if they tried to. And I think there's something sort of fake about that feels very forced to me, that makes me extremely uncomfortable just on its face. And so I really think it also made me sort of wonder if we should start thinking a little bit more about how we express our faith in public, and what, you know, I don't know, what mediums we do that in, or what forums we do that in, and what really is the best way to have this society where you have many diverse views and religious views and beliefs, and how we can uphold everybody's religious values and respect them without, you know, forcing them on one another. And I don't think Christianity's quite got it right at this point, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I just also viewed this as another unfortunate chapter in the tribalist partisan warfare, which, to be clear, you know, 99.9% of American society is not even aware of this controversy. This is very much a very online political sphere controversy. However, within it, it just shows you how partisan people are, because I really don't think, it seems like this is, if you took this out of the context of a Democrat they hate, most of these people wouldn't be offended by this at all. They'd be like, oh, whatever, even they just keep scrolling. It's just, this partisanship really can drive people to just take everything to the worst possible faith reading into things, and constantly be out getting outraged over things, yet not really caring when somebody on their own side says something similar. It's like, to me, this was just partisan tribalism at its worst. Oh, and it led to just, you know, a trending topic on Twitter for like 48 hours, full of people squabbling over this. And then the right, and then the left, of course, claims victimhood and says, oh, look, they hate Muslims. And it's just, the whole thing is exhausting to me. And it's like, why are we even talking about this? This tweet shouldn't have been significant. People should have just kept scrolling, like, or said, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Actually, I think it would be fine if some people pointed out that they've been on flights where Muslim people have prayed and no one really cared, right? Or like actually discuss the point, instead of all these non sequiturs and fake outrage. And I also will say and I don't want to ascribe this too broadly, but there is a small slice of the Christian right that likes to basically play the victim now, like Christians are victimized in American society or targeted. And there are absolutely specific incidences of that, like, you know, the Christian baker who has been targeted with endless lawsuits specifically coming after him and his family. But they take it to this extreme that I think is just utterly absurd, where they're like, oh, it's like kind of like the war on Christmas meme. It's like, there is no war on Christianity, right? It's just still the predominant faith in the U.S. It's still very much the norm, right? It's just like, I don't know. I guess they really want to copy the left and play victim, but it's like, I find it a little tiresome.
I find it to be, this is what it is. I think Christianity was so dominant in the culture for so long in this country that now it's not that there's a war on Christianity, but it is becoming less popular, and fewer people are ascribing to it, and it does not dominate our social norms as much as it used to. And so there's this feeling among Christians that because they're not popular, they're under attack. And it's kind of like, you could only really get that perception when you're so on top for so long that, like, all of a sudden not being like the homecoming queen feels like you're getting egged. And like, it's just, that's not what happened. You just didn't get voted first this time around. But like, that's where the perception comes from. And the reality is, they don't realize that the more they act like this, the less and less society is going to want to associate with the religion, because it's really nothing about acting like Jesus acted. It has nothing to do with really carrying out your faith. It's really about trying to force your views on other people and expecting the culture to like bend over backwards to make you comfortable and to live how you want people to. And I don't know. It's something that really made me question leaving my faith over and over for many years. I've always had issues with Christianity as an organized religion. I very much believe in its tenets, but it's a frustrating component that I think actually tends to be getting worse as a whole.
Yeah, that's really interesting, especially because you've been immersed in it all, where I'm just looking from the outside.
Mhm.